As I'm sure you're aware, we've opened up our Airsoft arena recently, and I thought this would be as good a time as any to go over some of the basics of Airsoft for those of you that are brand new to the sport, and even for a few of you guys that are out there that have been doing this for a while, where, you know, you get into a rut and you start doing things the wrong way. This might be a great time to sort of start over again and learn some of the basics of playing Airsoft. Now, my first rule of Airsoft is this is an inherently dangerous sport. I don't think anybody can get involved in a sport like this where you're actively shooting at each other and think that you're going to get out of this completely unscathed every single time. Of course, there are risks, and that's why we take certain steps to try to minimize the risk of getting any kind of injury. So when we're talking about the risk of injury and Airsoft, the main thing that I'm concerned about is any kind of permanent injury to your eyes. You know, when you're playing Airsoft, you can get shot just about anywhere in your body and not suffer any kind of permanent or disfiguring injury. Sure, you know what, you can get shot in the mouth and maybe get a tooth blown out, but you can always go to the dentist and get a fake one put in there and you'll be able to chew your food just fine. You get shot in the eye, they can put a fake eyeball in there, but you're not going to be able to see out of it. So it's absolutely imperative that you protect your eyes at all times. There are some places in the Airsoft arena where you absolutely have to wear your eye protection, like when you're in the active playing zone of the arena. But when you're in areas like the staging area, you can take your eye protection off. That being said, if you absolutely want to reduce your risk of injury, please leave your eye protection on at all times. You know, you don't have to wear a full face mask, but just at least maybe leave a pair of safety glasses on. And that way, if some idiot's not paying attention and pops off a shot in there, you're going to hopefully reduce the risk of any kind of injury to your eyes. So the next thing I'm going to talk about sort of dovetails with what I just said, where there are some instances where people will take their Airsoft guns, think that the barrel is clear, pull the trigger, and oops, there was one shot left in it, and they just pop somebody in the head. So with that in mind, only shoot your guns in the active shooting area of the arena. In the staging area of the arena, there is no shooting at any time for any reason. So absolutely no dry firing of any kind in the staging area.
Dude, this camo's sick.
I know, it's like,
look at the EOS.
So to also help reduce some of these risks, what we ask is that when you come into the staging area that you have some sort of barrel cover on your gun. Now there are some that are made specifically as barrel covers, but you know, I don't care if you put a sock on it or throw your glove over it or some way of keeping the barrel sealed so that any accidental shots don't get out. That'll make me happy. Now, even though you have a barrel cover on the gun, there is still no dry firing of the gun. If you do not have a barrel cover, just go ahead, bring your gun into the arena and just lean it up against the wall or put it in the rack and just wait for the next round. If you need to reload, just take the magazine out, take the magazine back in the staging area and reload that back there. Now, one rule that's really hard to enforce is the minimum safe distance rule, or what some people call the bang bang rule, where what they ask is that you be at least 5 feet from your target before you engage it with your weapon. Now, the problem with that is a lot of time you come around the corner and you weren't expecting a guy there, and just through the force of habit or muscle memory, you go ahead and blast him anyway. You really can't get too mad when that sort of thing happens, because that's sort of what we're doing here anyway, and that's also why we wear safety equipment. But beyond that, if you can at all help it, what we ask you do is just you say bang bang, and the guy accepts the fact that he was shot, and you just go back to your respective corner. If both of you engage each other at the same time and both of you say it at the same time, you're both out. It's a mutual kill. The other thing you can do is if you have your training knife on you, you can take your knife out and tag the guy with the knife. Adds a little bit of style to your kill, and the guy has to be out that way.
bang, bang.
Now, something that has a place in the real world that we don't allow in the Airsoft world is blind firing. You know, it's probably tactically viable to actually blind fire when you're in a gunfight where you can put your gun around the corner or over the top of an object and just blast away because you know the bad guy is over there. But in the Airsoft world, this is something of a sport, and we want to involve a certain amount of sportsmanship and skill with playing this game. So what we want to do is actually aim at our target and hit it, and not just randomly be firing around corners hoping that we randomly hit something. So blind firing is not allowed in the Airsoft arena. Now, one thing you may or may not know is the majority of gameplay that we do here is done in semi-automatic only, which ticks a lot of people off because they say, you know, why the hell do I have a fully automatic gun if I'm only allowed to use it in semi-automatic mode? Well, here's the thing, guys. There's a lot of guns that are out there that have these amazing rates of fire, like Polar Stars, Daytona guns, these electric guns that have dual sector gears on them, that have these blistering rates of fire that they don't even have to aim at their target. They can just go full auto and take out the whole other team without even barely aiming. What we're trying to do is play a game of skill here, so what we ask is that everybody stay in semi-automatic only. That way we're all playing on a level playing field and nobody has an inherent advantage over everybody else because their gun can shoot out 10 billion rounds a second and they don't even have to aim at their targets. There will be some rounds that we will always do in fully automatic, but we'll let you know when those rounds are so you know that you can go ahead and go to fully automatic. Otherwise, just assume that most rounds are going to be done semi-automatic only. Now, the one thing that drives the most people crazy and starts even more fights than people that come in and claim to have military service that actually don't is people that don't call their hits. And I have to say, that's one of the big problems with Airsoft is that the guns don't leave any kind of mark on you, so it's very hard to tell whether or not you've hit your target, and a lot of times people will take advantage of that and just not call their hits. Now, in my book, there's certain levels to not calling your hits. And there's certain gray areas that, in this case, I'd like to hear some of your comments on whether or not this is actually a hit or not. Like, say you're coming around with your gun and your gun takes a bullet. Is your gun out, or are you out and your gun? Do you just put your gun down, or you just say out, or how do you work that one? Or how about in the case of when you're near a wall, you catch a ricochet, are you now out, or do ricochets not count? In the real world, you can get killed by a ricochet just as easily as you can get killed by direct fire. Or what about if you're hit in a non-critical area, like it just grazed your arm or just creased your uniform or bounced off your shoulder? Is that a kill or not? There are some people that'll say only if it's in the center of mass is it a kill. Well, I've heard of guys getting shot in the real world in their arm, have it travel all the way up their arm into their neck and blow their head clean off. So, you know, to me a hit is a hit. But, you know, you tell me, are those hits or are those not hits? I say if you're on a team with a guy that's not calling his hits, call him out on it. Say, hey dude, you're out. Go respawn, do whatever. You know, on some level, I think I can understand where they're coming from by not calling their hits, because they're probably in some kind of denial where they're like, oh my God, in the real world, if I just got shot just now, I'd be dead. I couldn't be dead. I'm too good to be dead right now. I'm way too good at this stuff. It's like, no, dude, you got hit. Be a man. Call yourself out and just wait for the next round.
Hey guys, come on, come out here. Come on, kid, you're out.
Dude, you are out.
So those are some basic concepts for playing Airsoft. And I have to say, by doing this video, I don't want to give you the idea that if you come to a place like this, you're going to see people running around willy-nilly and not following the rules, because you're not going to see that here. And I think anybody that's new to Airsoft that first comes here will attest to the fact that they're amazed at how people do follow the rules when they do play these games, because when you think about it, we're emulating combat, which is probably the most chaotic thing that a human being can experience, and we're actually doing that and instituting rules and regulations for things that you can and cannot do while playing the game. So I think it's always good just to sort of go over some of those rules, just so everybody can keep on the same page and abide by them. If you want to try this place out for yourself, come on down. You can check us out at replayairsoft.com. There's all kinds of information about the arena. We're here at 550 Crain Highway North in Glen, Burnie. Just come on in on one of the days that we're open, Thursday through Saturday, or you can book us out for a private event if you like. So until the next time, don't let the bastards get you down.